Your host, Congressman Buck McKeon.
You have situations where these colleges can be the major employer in a county, so that's an important economic engine that really needs to be driven. So what I have to look at is, when I look at these bills, okay, what's this going to do to the institution, as well as what's it going to do? So while I understand that the bill that we passed that cut the interest rates for kids for a certain period of time, and not for the rest of the lifetime, as we all know, for a short period of time, that's a benefit and certainly a great political gimmick and positive to sell the bill. It can maybe have some long-term, really negative implications on some of the institutions that are really basic economic components of my district.
Yeah, and they understand that.
Oh, that's very well.
They see that past the idea of saying, "Oh, we're cutting interest rates in half." Well, during the campaign, it was we were going to cut the interest rate for all students. When they got back here and found out how much that was going to cost, they said, well, we'll just do it for the subsidized loans, so it's only half of them, and it's only going to be for 4 years, and then it's going to go back up to the original rate, or with some way we have to come up with another $30 billion or so to continue that. But in this higher ed reauthorization, we do increase Pell Grants, which will be beneficial both for the student and for the school.
Correct.
And one of the things that I'm really happy about in it is the transparency for where the schools and some of them have resisted this, but I think that they will ultimately feel good about it. Putting their transfer program, what their requirements are, so that if a student starts at one school, say the community college, they know if they're taking a class, if it will transfer on to another school that they will be transferring to, instead of having to waste time taking that class over again. So I think that will be a good thing. I think another thing in the bill that the things that we require the schools to do, actually they're not going to have to come up with much more reporting than they're already doing, but it will be placed by the department on a website which parents and students will be able to go to see which schools are charging the most, which schools are charging the least, how the schools, they can go on to it in a user-friendly website and compare. And that, I think, will hopefully, when everything's transparent, will hopefully keep some costs down ultimately. And I think that will be a good thing.
Well, you and I are similar there. We believe in competitive concepps, and
the markets will work some.
Yeah, and that's important. Well, the only thing that, when we talked about that bill, and you may remember, the aspect of that transparency about transferability of certain things. The only concern that I heard from the colleges, not only in my district, but all of New York, and there are over 100 colleges. I mean, you've got colleges like Columbia, Cornell, Clarkson. I mean, there's some really great schools throughout New York. Was there were fear, and I think this is it's kind of like the old saying, you get the camel's nose under the tent, and you don't worry about what comes. And they were concerned that all of a sudden we were going to be starting to tell them what their course load had to be and their criteria had to be, and that sort of thing. The curricula is the better word had to be, and of course that was never the intent. The intent was to, as you say, to try to let some person who wanted to look at college as the most financially conservative approach to it and say, well, maybe I do start in community college and go for 2 years, but I don't want to have to go do all those courses over again once I go to the 4-year institution where I'm looking to get my degree, and know what that transferability is.
Excellent point, because our goal was never to tell the schools what their transfer policy should be. Just whatever your transfer policy is, put it up front so that that there's something that's objective, and it's not a subjective criteria that's later used to keep a student out for whatever reason. Well, boy, a half hour has gone very quickly, and I want to thank you, Randy, for coming on here.
I'm sorry if I talk too much.
Not at all.
I've done a couple of these shows before, and the commentator like yourself has said, "Well, I only got a chance to ask you 2 questions."
One of the goals that I'm trying to accomplish with this program is to let our viewers see what other members of Congress are like in other parts of the country, because, you know, we have a pretty low rating, and I think if people see the quality, the caliber of people that are representing people around the country, I think they'll have a little better comfort level that people are really there, that are working hard to help people and do a better job. And
all they'd have to do is follow you around, Buck, and they would be fulfilled. I tell you, nobody works harder than you do.
Thank you, Randy. And thank you for listening, and hope you look forward to our next show that will be coming in a month. Thank you very much.